At the outset, I would like to offer my humble pranams to Bhagavan Baba, whose grace alone is making it possible for me to broadcast this series over Radio Sai. Loving Sai Ram and greetings from Prashanti Nilayam. If you recall, when I broke off last time, I was telling you about Ravana going to Ashokavana and threatening Sita if she would not yield to his wishes. After Ravana leaves, the Rakshasis guarding Sita take turns and try to apply pressure on Sita to yield, pointing out at the same time how great Ravana was and what an opportunity she was missing by refusing to bow to the wishes of the great monarch. A Rakshasi named Vinata then attempted a slightly different approach and said, Sita, I applaud you for so meticulously adhering to values you hold so dear. Your deep loyalty to your husband Rama is most commendable. At the same time, I am concerned by the severe hostility you are continuing to show to Ravana. You know, even virtue carried to excess is not desirable because it only makes enemies. Think calmly and ask yourself, of what use is your continued loyalty to a husband whom you are never going to see again? You have to understand that we are all extremely indebted to Ravana and simply worship him. We just cannot bear to hear the kind of insults you hurled at him. If you persist in your foolishness, then we would have no option but to eat you. Other Rakshasis followed, taunting, threatening and tormenting Sita to such an extent that she broke down and began to cry. Without moving even the slightest bit so as not to arouse any suspicion about his presence, Hanuman carefully observed all that was going on, even though he felt as much pain as Sita did. Deciding that enough was enough, Sita finally decided to speak out strongly and said to the Rakshasis, You can threaten me as much as you want, but let me tell you for the last time, I am a human being, and under no circumstance would any human being marry a Rakshasa. Go ahead and eat me if you wish. As far as I am concerned, I am simply not going to yield. Having poured out her wrath, Sita then began to think of Rama. Wailing loudly, she exclaimed, Rama, I am unable to take all this anymore. What is the use of my living without you? I wonder why you have not come so far to rescue me. Perhaps you do not know where I am being held captive. Once you become aware of my current whereabouts, I am sure that you, along with Lakshmana, would invade this kingdom of Rakshasas, decimate this great city thoroughly and set it on fire, making it look like a massive crematorium. Meanwhile, I am seeing omens that suggest that what I am hoping for would actually happen. But can I survive till then? In my present condition, I think death is preferable to life. I am well aware that taking one's life is not approved by the scriptures. But then what am I to do? I am not a realized soul to whom joy and sorrow do not make any difference. Being far from that supreme state of sublime equanimity, I am forced to face life based on what I am capable of. I don't think I can drag on like this much longer. And perhaps I have to seriously contemplate giving up my life instead of extending the purposeless and wretched existence I am now going through. Gloating over Sita's misery, the Rakshasis surrounding her resumed their harassment. However, this time they faced a severe reprimand from a fellow ogress named Trijata, who said, "You wretches, Stop all this daydreaming about feasting on Sita's flesh. I had a frightening dream in the early hours of this morning that fills me with dread and makes my hair stand on end. This dream foretells a dreadful future for all of us in Lanka. In fact, many of us would soon be without our husbands because they would all be annihilated. Shaken by this pronouncement, the other Rakshasis said anxiously, "Tell us more about this strange dream. We are scared because it is said that pre-dawn dreams always come true." Trijata replied, "I first saw Rama and Lakshmana coming floating in a celestial palanquin. Rama is clad in white and wearing a white garland. Sita also is clad in white and then gets united with Rama on top of a mountain while Lakshmana comes riding a huge elephant. By the way, he too is wearing a white garland. At one point, Sita stands up and touches both the moon and the sun. I also saw Ravana with a shaven head knocked out of his aerial pushpaka, lying on the ground. And I saw many disturbing scenes, including one of a monkey setting the whole of Lanka on fire. I tell you, we are in for difficult times. There is absolutely no question that Rama is soon going to come here and rescue Sita, and the future is going to be very different from what you are imagining. Apart from my rather significant and meaningful dream, right now I can see Sita's left eye and left arm throbbing, which make their own prognostication. If you had any sense, you would immediately seek Sita's pardon and beg her for forgiveness. Be careful and speak to her in as soothing a manner as possible, instead of being crude and rude as you now are." Sita, who heard every word of what Trijata said, was surprised to hear a Rakshasi not merely speaking in support of her, but also make very favorable predictions about the future. Perhaps the future was not all that hopeless. Feeling somewhat uplifted, Sita then gently said to Trijata, "Dear lady, should your words come true, I shall protect you from any harm being inflicted by the forces fighting for Rama." Although Trijata's premonition brought some cheer to Sita, she soon slipped back into a depressive mood, even as she began recalling the recent nasty encounter with Ravana, as well as the menacing ultimatum delivered by him. And when her anguish reached the breaking point, she began to wail and lament. Far from helping her to purge herself of negative feelings, the lamentations merely sent Sita deeper into depression, to the point that she began to actively contemplate suicide. Throughout this high drama, Hanuman remained carefully hidden, unobserved either by Sita or by the large group of Argises detailed to act as her guards. Although Hanuman was more or less certain that the lady he was observing was Sita, he wanted to make doubly sure that she was not set up by Ravana as a clever decoy, in case some highly capable spy managed to sneak into his impenetrable fortress. Such was Hanuman's thoroughness. After finally concluding that the lady in Ashokavana was indeed Sita, Hanuman now faced a dilemma. Having located Sita, should he quickly go back and report to Rama, or should he make an effort to actually meet Sita, speak with her, and offer her some hope as well as encouragement? If it was to be the latter, how could he possibly talk freely to Sita unseen by the large number of Rakshasis guarding her from close quarters? He could of course easily get rid of the Rakshasis, but then there was also the risk of being captured and even killed by Ravana's army. True, by summoning all his strength, he might be able to even annihilate thousands of Rakshasas. However, the exertion involved in that confrontation could drain away enormous energy, rendering him incapable of jumping back from Lanka to the mainland and reporting the good news. What should be his next move? That was the question Hanuman now began to wrestle with. Meanwhile, a new doubt arose. Supposing I do decide to speak to Sita, what are the chances she would believe that I am actually a messenger of Rama? She might well dismiss me as a mere talking monkey, a trick played by Ravana to dupe her and fill her with false hope. What therefore should I do to instill confidence into her? And suddenly Hanuman remembered that there was a key that could open the way to a successful meeting with Sita, namely the name of Rama. Having discovered the magic wand, Hanuman began to softly sing the glory of Rama. Starting with the eminence of the Ikshvaku dynasty, Hanuman quickly went through the entire story, Rama going into exile, settling down in Panchavati, the extermination of Kara and Dusha, the subsequent kidnapping of Sita by Ravana as an act of revenge, the desperate search by Rama and Lakshmana for the missing princess of Videha, the exiles meeting with Sugriva, etc., all the way to the important clue given by Sampati. Hanuman then gently whispered, and finally, I, the humble servant of Lord Rama, have managed to locate you, O noble lady, who matches exactly the description given by Lord Rama and is presently being cruelly tormented by Ravana. Hanuman paused, waiting to see what Sita's response would be. Needless to say, Sita was stunned to hear the entire story of Rama narrated in full detail by an unknown voice. Wanting to know where the voice was coming from and to whom it belonged, Sita then carefully looked all round her. Not finding anyone, she began to glance up, and when she did so, she saw Hanuman, barely visible amongst the leafy branches. At first, Sita was wonderstruck. However, she soon became very suspicious, wondering, a monkey singing the glory of Rama and narrating a story with such accuracy and in such detail? This is not possible. Perhaps this is just a dream and not at all true. Feeling utterly disconsolate, Sita began to cry piteously once more, after which she collapsed and became unconscious. It took a long time for her to regain consciousness, and when she did so, she carefully looked up again, unobserved by the ogresses. The monkey was very much there, making clear that what she was seeing was not an illusion. Once more she sank into depression, reflecting, the scriptures say that the sight of a monkey is a clear sign that grief and sorrow are around the corner. Is something terrible in store? Even as Sita was being tossed around by doubts, Hanuman came down slowly and unobtrusively and stood before Sita. Palms joined in humility, he bowed and said, O noble lady, may I respectfully ask who you are? Why are tears flowing in such a torrent from your beautiful eyes that look like a lotus? Whoever you are, to me you look truly like a goddess. However, seeing you in the circumstances you now are in, clearly you cannot be a goddess. Something in me, especially the situation that you are presently in, tells me that you are Sita, the consort of Lord Rama, and none other. Delighted and thrilled to hear such a respectful mention of Rama's name in a forest full of demons, Sita replied, Yes, I am indeed Sita, the daughter-in-law of Emperor Dasharatha, the daughter of King Janaka and the wife of Rama, who went into exile on account of Kaikeyi, the youngest wife of Dasharatha. As you mentioned, I was kidnapped while we were in Janasthana. After bringing me to Lanka, that monster has kept me captive here, surrounded by dangerous and cruel ogresses. He wants me to give up Rama and become his wife. However, I have fiercely and stubbornly and most contemptuously rebuffed him. His ego severely bruised, Ravana has since warned me of dire consequences and given me a time limit of 2 months to make up my mind. Obviously, I am never going to yield to him, and it looks like I have to give up my life soon. Alarmed by the depressive mood into which Sita appeared to be slipping, Hanuman resolved that his response must be such as to totally change Sita's attitude, filling her with sufficient confidence to hold on till she was rescued, which was now only a matter of time. Carefully choosing his words and bowing low again, Hanuman said in a most respectful tone, "O godlike lady, after searching for you all over Lanka, I have, by Rama's grace, finally managed to locate you here. My main mission is to deliver a personal message to you from Rama himself, who wants me in the first instance to assure you that he is well, but of course deeply concerned about your welfare. The valorous Lakshmana, who is also deeply distressed about the fate that has befallen you, sends you his loving and most respectful salutations." Thrilled to hear such wonderful messages, literally out of the blue, Sita responded, "Those are words I never expected to hear, and they come after a long and painful wait that seems almost like 100 years. You do not know how happy I am at a time when I thought I would never experience joy again." Seeing Sita somewhat uplifted, Hanuman took a few steps forward so that he could move closer to Sita. However, Hanuman's movement immediately aroused Sita's suspicions, making her wonder, "Was I mistaken? Maybe this monkey that I thought was a messenger of my dear husband Rama is, after all, a fake, being none other than Ravana himself in disguise." Overwhelmed by the thought, Sita, who till then was supporting herself by holding to one of the tree branches, let go of it and collapsed to the ground, exhausted both physically and mentally. Depression took hold of her again as she turned her gaze away from Hanuman. Silence prevailed for a while, after which, summoning her courage and taking a deep breath, she said to Hanuman, "I am not entirely convinced that you are indeed a messenger of Rama. On the contrary, I suspect you to be Ravana himself. If, however, you are indeed truly a messenger of Rama, then tell me for a start something about his qualities and virtues." After getting an encouraging reception earlier, this sudden turnaround of Sita slightly unsettled Hanuman. Clearly, this was an occasion that called for extreme tact, skill, and delicate diplomacy. Slowly and with careful deliberation, he started describing the virtues and glory of Rama and concluded by saying, "Holy and sacred lady, let me assure you that Rama is not only deeply stricken by what has happened to you, but is also firmly resolved to rescue you, come what may. I can add that it would not be long before Ravana meets his end at the hands of your dear husband. Meanwhile, let me introduce myself as Hanuman, a minister of the Vanara king Sugriva, who rules over Kishkinda thanks to the help and support given by Rama. I am a member of one of the 4 search parties sent by Sugriva to look for you in all the 4 directions. Please, O Princess of Videha, do not mistake me to be a Rakshasa in disguise. I am indeed who I say I am, and I beg of you to summarily dismiss any suspicion you might have of me, for they are entirely without any basis." After a pause, Sita decided to probe further and said, "You are a monkey that speaks, which is astonishing. How on earth did you monkeys come into contact with Rama and build up a relationship with him? I also want you to describe the distinctive marks on Rama and Lakshmana." Treating this cross-examination as a positive step, Hanuman responded with a detailed and convincing reply, concluding with the words, "O noble princess, before I took leave of Rama, he gave me to hand over to you when I find you a ring with the word Rama inscribed on it. Here it is. Please receive it and I hope that this ring would convince you that I am truly a messenger of your Lord. Besides identifying me, this ring carries a special message from Rama to you, which is that he would soon be here to personally rescue you. Receiving Rama's ring from Hanuman most reverentially, Sita gazed intently at it, her mind lost in Rama. She realized that the ring, besides identifying Hanuman as truly a messenger of Rama, would also serve her as a talisman, protecting her from any evil that might befall her. Slowly she raised her head and looked again at Hanuman. Gone was her suspicion. With much love and plenty of admiration, Sita said, "O jewel amongst the Vanaras, you are no ordinary being. Not only have you performed an unimaginable feat in crossing the ocean by leaping across it, but equally admirable is your amazing fearlessness. While the whole world shivers at the mere mention of Ravana's name, you obviously are not awed by him. I have a question for you. If, as you say, Rama is well, then why has he not made any effort thus far to rescue me? I know for a fact that not only Rama but Lakshmana too is invincible. And yet, as far as I am concerned, I must say I am intrigued by this inordinate delay. By any chance, is Rama feeling a bit nervous? Does he go about his daily routine, especially prayers, etc., regularly? I fervently hope he has not lost interest in me because I am here far away from him. In any event, I am still hoping he would invade Lanka, exterminate this wretched monster Ravana, and take me back. Meanwhile, please tell me all you can about my beloved Lord." It was Hanuman's turn to speak, and with much reverence as well as compassion, he replied, "Respected princess, let me tell you that till now Rama does not know that you are being held in captivity here. If he knew, don't you think he would have rushed here immediately? In fact, till I return and personally inform him, Rama would remain in the dark about your whereabouts. That ought to answer your question about the delay in Rama coming here. As regards Rama's habits, etc., his mind is entirely focused on you. And so overwhelmed is he by your absence that he is oblivious even to normal irritants like mosquito bites. Again and again he sighs in deep anguish, repeatedly calling out your name. The moment he knows where you are, he would set forth immediately to rescue you. It is now only a matter of time before Ravana meets his end and you are reunited with your Lord." Those words were sweet music to Sita's ears, and for the first time in her captivity, her face beamed with joy and confidence. After reflecting for a few minutes and absorbing the news she had just heard, Sita said to Hanuman, "Dear messenger of the Lord, what you have just told me is both sweet and sour. I am certainly happy to know that Rama misses me a lot. At the same time, to hear that grief has made Rama neglect himself makes me both concerned and sad. All I can hope and pray for at this juncture is that my wait here would not be long. Kala, the eldest daughter of Ravana's brother Vibhishana, tells me that her father tried hard to convince Ravana to restore me back to Rama. However, Ravana flatly rejected that advice. Meanwhile, a wise Rakshasa named Avindhya has bluntly warned Ravana that the latter was doomed by destiny to be annihilated by Rama, and that has got the Rakshasa king worried. Nevertheless, he remains stubborn, and in fact, he has given me an ultimatum, which means I would not be alive for long unless Rama comes soon. I earnestly hope that exactly is what would happen." Responding most encouragingly, Hanuman said, There is absolutely no question that the moment I report back, Rama and Lakshmana would be on their way with a huge army to invade Lanka. Making short work of Ravana, they would rescue you in no time at all. Have no doubt about it. There is in fact another option that would enable you to see Rama and Lakshmana today itself. Consumed by curiosity, Sita asked what that other option was. Hanuman replied, "Well, I could carry you on my shoulder and leap back to the mainland. That way you would be reunited with Rama this very day. All you have to do is to mount on my back. Just say the word yes, and in a few minutes you would be in Rama's presence." Sita was intrigued and asked, "Your idea of carrying me on your back is no doubt quite ingenious. But how can you, such a small monkey, carry a human being like me? That's not possible. Pardon me for saying so, but your suggestion is quite monkey-like." Shaking his head as he heard these words, Hanuman said to himself, "Clearly, this lady does not know about my capabilities. It is time I reveal to her that I can, among other things, change my size at will. Maybe that would make her change her mind." Drawing himself up, Hanuman enlarged himself in the twinkling of an eye to a mountainous size, filling Sita with amazement and wonder. Absolutely stunned, Sita took a few moments to absorb the import of what she was seeing, after which she said, "O mighty Vanara, it is clear that you are not only unique and extraordinary, but also can actually carry me on your back. I am also convinced that your enormous strength would easily enable you to cross over from Lanka to the mainland that lies across the ocean. However, that does not mean that your proposed scheme is flawless and free from difficulties. For example, you would be moving so fast that I might easily fall off from your back into the ocean below, which, as you well know, is full of dangerous creatures like deadly sharks, poisonous sea snakes, and so on. Moreover, the moment you take off, you would be pursued by droves of Ravana's augurs. Obviously, you have to fight them off, and during that encounter, there is a good chance I might slip off your back and plunge into the sea. There is, however, a stronger and ideological objection to your scheme, which is that, married as I am, it would be absolutely sinful for me to come into contact with the body of any other person. I think the best course for you would be to quickly return, tell Rama that you have found me, help him to invade Lanka, and rescue me at the earliest." Completely overwhelmed by the reasoned and virtuous reply given by Sita, Hanuman said with great humility and deep respect, "O Divine Mother, your reasoning is perfect, and your arguments are unassailable. I shall, as advised by you, do my best to reunite you with Rama as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, please can you narrate to me some incidents or experiences shared by you and Rama that no one else knows about, so that when I report back to Rama, he would be convinced that I actually did meet you." Sita smiled and replied, "Hanuman, you are truly both wise and practical. You could tell Rama that one day when we were living in Chitrakuta, a crow began to bother me no end. This particular crow was not just creating nuisance, but actually pecking and clawing me most violently, causing deep injuries, as a result of which I began to bleed heavily. This, of course, was no ordinary crow, but the son of Indra himself, unfortunately given to evil ways. Flying into a rage, Rama plucked a blade of kusa grass from the mat he was sitting on and charged it with the potency of Brahmastra, a missile presided over Brahma, the creator. Instantly, the grass blade was transformed into a blazing fire, whereupon Rama hurled it in the direction of the crow. In a bid to escape, the crow flew away. However, the fireball chased the crow relentlessly. The crow tried to seek refuge in all the three worlds, but no one would offer shelter. Even Indra, the father of the disguised crow, abandoned the crow. In sheer desperation, the crow finally rushed to Rama and sought his protection. Rama, who is ever compassionate, could not deny refuge once it was sought. He thus said to the crow, "The missile carrying the power and potency of Brahma cannot be totally annulled. However, if some punishment is borne, the missile would not take your life." Thereupon the crow agreed to have one of its eyes blinded and managed to escape with its life. Please ask Rama, why, if he could shoot the powerful Brahmastra at a mere crow for hurting me, is he not doing anything against the one who has kidnapped me? Hanuman replied, "Most holy lady, I give you my solemn promise that I shall rush back to Rama with all the news I have gathered about you. Rama is grieving for you intensely, just as you have been here in Lanka. However, where you are concerned, since I have now located you, this is really the beginning of the end of your misery and problems. Before I leave, may I respectfully inquire whether you have any special messages for Rama and Lakshmana?" Sita was happy that Hanuman had the intelligence to anticipate what she wanted and said, "Most valorous Vanara, please convey my respect and love to Rama, the protector of the world. As for Lakshmana, please tell him that I am very sorry I ignored his wise advice. He is truly a gem, and I must tell you that while we lived together in the forest, Lakshmana always treated Rama as his father and me as his mother. Please convey to this wonderful brother of Rama my kindest inquiries. And now, please convey this personal message from me to Rama. Say to him, 'Dear husband, I have been given a deadline by Ravana, and I shall not live beyond that limit. You have to rescue me quickly.' Hanuman, let me now give you a jewel of mine that you can carry back as proof of having met me." So saying, Sita then removed a shining divine jewel she was wearing on her head, which, thanks to her divine nature, was never noticed by the Rakshasis who guarded her, and handed over the jewel to the Vanara hero. Well, that's all I have for this week, and I hope you would join me again next week for further installments of this great epic. Meanwhile, I request you again to write to us with your feedback, which is invaluable to us. As always, I offer this talk to Swami, who made it possible. Jai Sai Ram.